Today we're going to start a new project, and let me tell you, this is a very special piece. I don't know what I was thinking when I bought it, but you got to see to believe. Isn't it special? This I bought at auction, and the pictures did not do it justice, but let's just say it has a lot of patina under a lot of dirt. Lovely glove box here. It has 4 drawers. They're not in bad condition, but should I take this bottom one out, then the third one falls down. It has a sticker on the back. It is Bassett. I think we've got our work cut out for us. We do have a problem. We've got a bit of a separation issue here. It has been sitting in my storage area for about 1.5 years. So I think that I have avoided it long enough. So let's make it nice. And trying to clamp this piece back together where the gap is down at the bottom, I've discovered that it won't go back in. So I've started taking the top off, because I'm going to have to turn it upside down, and I don't want to damage the drawer or the glove box. So I've took my crowbar and took it apart. What I've discovered is that on the inside there's some nails that are keeping this panel from actually going in its little slot here. So I'm just going to have to keep working with it and see if I can get those little nails out so that I can then put it all back together again. Well, there's one down. All right, here and here there are 2 more screws that are going to stop this tenon from going in this slot. You can hear them and you can feel them. You can barely see them because they're almost the same color as the wood, so I've got to get those off as well. I found a treasure. It fell out of this chest of drawers, and it's actually a laminate ruler. All right, now that we've got the nails out, we're just going to go through and start pulling it back together. That's looking pretty good. Okay. So what we want to do is get a dry fit first before we glue it back together to be sure that everything lines up. Oh, that's much better. Yeah, we can live with that. The thing about wood is that it needs to expand and contract, and when people put nails in, that does not allow the wood to expand and contract with it being hot and cold, and that's probably what happened here and why it popped and came apart anyway. We're going to put it back together. I'm going to go ahead, take it back apart, put some glue in there, and we'll get this thing back together. When you glue tannins, it's good to get the face as well as the slot. It just helps everything to hold together. Okay, we just need to let this dry now overnight, and tomorrow we'll check, make sure everything's nice and solid, and then we'll come back to it. Okay, so we've let this piece dry overnight. We're going to remove these clamps and see if this worked to hold this side piece in. So let's go ahead and get started. Feeling good. As you can see, we've got that gap all fixed now, and it's got its first cleaning. But what we want to do first before we get started is we want to test this for lead to be sure that there's no lead paint in here. I get these kits, they're lead test kits off of Amazon, and take a swab out. Got white vinegar in here, and we're just going to wet that. And then we're just going to rub it all over the paint area. Not all over, but in a spot. Just pick a test spot. And then we wait and we see if it turns purple, then it has lead in it. If it stays this orange area, then we're safe. So we're looking pretty good there. I want to test a bit more. There's also some blue paint, and I can see a little bit of green here. So I'm going to test those as well, just to be sure. As you can see here, this one is a darker color, but it's still no lead detected. This one, there's no lead detected. It barely even changed colors. So that was on that blue. I did this one on the gold. And this one on the green. And everything looks good. I've never actually had one that went purple. Even if it had lead in it, that doesn't mean it's a dead project. We've just got to burn it and be done with it. That would be the last thing you'd want to do anyway. But you just have to use more caution and not use a heat gun. You wouldn't want to make dust, so you would want to strip it, but you'd want to have a face mask, a respirator, not just a face mask, but a respirator. You just want to use a lot more caution when you are removing anything that you think could have lead and you haven't tested it. Best thing to do, test it, be sure, and then you know what to do. Okay, so we've given this piece another good thorough cleaning. We've finished gluing up the side. I've also glued up those tenons that are holding in the drawers, and everything's lining up beautifully. So with another good clean, it's looking pretty good. Still a few spots I might clean a little more on, but it does have a lot of that French country character, and I'm thinking somebody will absolutely love this the way that it is. It is not to my taste, but it is to a lot of people in this area. They love this look. So I may just put it on the market, see how it goes, see if people like it, and go with that. We're going to strip it down. Hopefully this will just give you a time-lapse, bubbly paint removal thing. We've had 3 attempts at a chemical stripper on these drawers, and this is the best that we have gotten to. We're going to switch over and try a heat gun and see how that works. We're also going to use this brass bristled brush to get into these details. As you notice, as I'm doing this, I'm just heating that paint up, and then I go back and brush it over, and that gets a lot of that paint out of those nicely carved details. to get into all these little areas, what you need to do is get a set of dental tools. There's really no way around that. If you really want that paint out of there and you want it nice and clean and stripped off. I don't know if I'm going to paint these again, but if I don't, I really need them clean without all that paint on them. Okay, so we have all of the paint scraped off of this piece, and I've taken it all the way apart. This is actually the top sitting here. I removed the top just to get better access. And now that we've got the paint all scraped off of it, I'm going to do a bit of sanding and see what we've got going on. I've decided that I like the design in these legs, that no matter what I do, I'm going to keep these legs natural, but they've still got some paint left in them. So we're just taking some stripper and just going to get the rest of those little bits out. So I'm just going to let that soak in, and then we will get that paint off of those. I've just got a bit of 4/0 steel wool. Seeing if I can get any more of those little specks off. Just get my little dental scraper and keep scraping. This is a bit of a problem. This is bird's eye maple, but my problem comes in the center. There's pieces of the veneer that are just totally missing, but what I see under here looks to be oak. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take the rest of this veneer on the center part out, try and leave these corner pieces on, and maybe work with that oak. Just going to get my putty knife. Yeah, that's going to be quite easy. I'm trying not to damage this because I can possibly use these pieces to repair some areas. So hopefully I can get enough of this to repair those areas. Now that we've gotten the front of the dresser all sanded, what we need to do is take these off. And what I've done is I'm just sliding my putty knife under here and trying to be quite gentle as to not break these moldings, because I'm going to be using them again, but I need to get them off so that I can be sure to sand this piece nice and smooth, because this is a nice wood. So I think I'm going to try and leave that exposed. The front of the drawers, not so much. They're not really that pretty, except for the top drawer. Now the top drawer is quite nice. We'll take a look at that in just a little bit. When you're doing something like this, just take your time. You've spent all of this time to save the piece. There's no point in rushing it at this stage. All you can do is think to yourself, it'll get done when it gets done. And I always have several projects going at the same time. When you guys see a video, it usually takes probably a week to edit anything, but I may have done the piece a month, 3 weeks before you ever see it on video, simply because I always have several projects going on at the same time, and it just depends on what we decide to get edited. And I kind of leave that up to Alex, because he knows how long it takes him to edit a video, and and what we've put out last has a lot to do with it, because we want to give a variety of both refinish and paint. So, because I like doing both. I like to save pieces if possible as they are, if they're antiques, but sometimes that's not always possible, because I buy pieces that are in great need of saving. Usually they're not the best pieces. I could spend a bit more money on a piece and buy something that didn't require a lot of work and put it out the door a lot quicker. But there would be a lot of pieces going to landfill that really need to be saved. So I usually take a lot of time with these pieces. There we go. All in one piece. Can be reused. So now we're going to do the same thing on the molding for this drawer that we did on the top piece here. We're just going to remove that molding and give that a nice sand. It's time to put this back together. I've set the top up here. It's got 2 nails already in the back, but it's got these screws in the front, so we're going to put those in. It is time to put some color on this piece now that we have it all stripped down. And let me tell you, it has taken me approximately, I would say 18 man-hours to strip that paint off, and that's just unbelievable. I mean, it's crazy how hard it was to get it off, but we did it. So let's now bring it back to life, make it beautiful again. I've taped off quite a bit because I'm going to keep quite a bit of it natural. I've taped off the feet. I'm going to keep those natural. These edges, we're going to keep those natural as well. I think that'll be a nice look for it. So let's get started. Let's get some paint on this and let's give it new life. I'm just getting my sprayer ready to spray. I use a Fuji Semi-Pro 2. It has a turbine unit. This is what would be a compressor, but it's a turbine. You don't need a compressor with this unit. It's got filters on each side. And then it has its gun. Also has a 25-foot air hose. You can order a 6-foot, but I make use of this 25-foot. I think I'm coming up on 2 years of having this gun. And I absolutely love it. I can't see that I would trade it for anything else at this point. I'm sure there are better ones. Well, I'm sure that there are other ones out there that are just as good, but this is the one that I chose because I knew that it would do what I needed it to do. And I'm very pleased with it. We'll put a link in the description if you're looking for a sprayer. I highly recommend this. Also, when you're looking at a sprayer, know what you need it to do. I have done a video that does some comparisons on sprayers and what you need to look for to suit your needs, because what I use may not work for you, and you need to know what questions you need to ask to buy the sprayer that will work for you. So check out that video. We'll put a link to it. Also, be sure that you get a good mask. This is a Trend Stealth mask. I bought this off of Amazon. It is easy to change out the filters, and it uses the N100 filter, so it gets really small particles. Also, I like this one because it's got soft rubber around it to seal around the face really well. And if you wear glasses, they won't fog up. If you have on safety glasses, it won't fog them. So I quite like this one. We'll put a link for it in the description. And hopefully that will help you to stay safe and to make a good decision on a sprayer. But if you're looking for one to do furniture, I absolutely highly recommend this. All right, let's get to it. I do want to put a little bit of embellishment on this piece, but not, I don't want it like shiny and, you know, all blingy. Just a hint of the gold leaf that would have been on it in the first place. So I'm being quite careful to just tape off a very thin gold line. Well, line that will be gold when I get done with it, I hope. But since this piece is a bit elderly, it's proving to be a bit of a challenge to get a straight line. So, and I'm going to use the Rub and Buff to do that line with, and I've got the one in antique gold, so I'm going to put that on. Remember, if you're going to put on waxes, it's always best to seal your piece first before you put any waxes on. That way, if you get it where you don't want it or it's too heavy, you can remove it without any issue with some mineral spirits. Okay, just that nice thin line is what I'm looking for. And we're going to do one more on this top ridge here as well. Okay, I'm just going to keep moving on and doing the rest all the way around the piece. The feet on this piece have different types of wood around them, and I think if they were gloss, they would look amazing. I've shellacked them, but I don't want to spray the shellac because I don't want it on my black paint. It may turn it slightly yellowish, and I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some General Finishes gloss top coat, and I'm going to top coat the feet as well. I always use General Finishes top coat on almost every project that I do, simply because it is such a great product. No, not sponsored by them, but I do believe in their top coats, their paints. They're fantastic. Good quality that will pay off in the end. Sometimes you do have to spend a bit of money where it counts, and your finished coat is absolutely one that you want to last. Yeah, I think that's bringing out those colors really nicely. Please remember to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you enjoy the videos. This really helps us to move up in the algorithm and get more views, which is how we can keep bringing videos to you. About 72% of the people who watch our videos are not subscribed. So please help support the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Sometimes on a project, you've got a part that you look at and you know what needs to be done, but you just don't want to do it. And that's where I'm at with this piece. These little cut-in designs need to be hand painted in gold to break up the wall of black that is the drawers. And there's nothing I can do but just get started and do it. I'll be glad it's done when it's over. So I've just gotten some acrylic from Hobby Lobby. I've used this many times. And just a piece of plastic. Put it on there. Got my tiny brush. All right, that's one corner done. Time to do the rest. If you'll notice, the feet have socks. It's not that my dresser is cold. It's that I've already glossed those and I don't want them flat, and I'm going to paint the rest of the piece flat. The reason that we're going to paint this piece flat is because if you've got an older piece that has a lot of flaws in it, like this one does, flat will show up less of the flaws. So keep that in mind, that anytime that you use a glossy finish, it's going to show up every imperfection that you have. So take caution. I'm using General Finishes flat. Okay, everybody, we're almost done with this chest of drawers, and it looks incredible. I have ordered some new wheels. They're wooden, from Kennedy Hardware. I have ordered from them a lot, and their service is fantastic. They do not sponsor me. They should, but they do not. But their service is great. Their prices are right, and I can find everything I need, from parts for Hoosier cabinets to wheels, hardware. Check them out if you're looking for something specific. They do a lot of antique reproductions. But on to this. Most of these wheels are pretty universal. You just put them in, push, pops in, so they're nice and solid. But if you have something, in the case of this bottom one, this piece is missing. These came with the wheels. All you do is you drill your hole out if it's not there, or in this case there is a hole there. Just have to put that in, take a hammer, hammer it in there, take my wheel, pop it in. Again, everything's in there nice and snug. It's that easy to put wheels on a piece or to replace wheels, and if you can't get the correct size, the flanges will come with it, and then you can just change them out. All right, let's get this piece finished up so you guys can see it. Now let's take a look at what it looked like before. After a whole lot of time, a whole lot of stripping, this piece is now complete. It was absolutely the right choice to strip it down, although it did take me probably 18-20 man hours to strip this piece. And would I ever be able to sell it and recuperate the hourly rate for that? Absolutely not. Sometimes you have to do a piece because it's the right thing to do, not because it's for the monetary value that you get out of it. And this is one of those pieces. I don't regret doing it, but it is not something I would recommend that you do if you are trying to turn over pieces to make money. But if you're trying to save a piece of, you know, what is history. I mean, this is an antique piece. It's got beautiful bird's eye maple, and I am just thrilled with how this looks. The drawers fronts were walnut, not very pretty walnut either, so we did paint those, strip back those moldings. Oh my goodness, that was a chore. We had to remove them, as you saw in the video. We removed all the moldings, even the one here. Remove the back, remove the top. This piece has come apart, oh my goodness, so many times. And it absolutely is fantastic. Now you can see why I had socks on the feet. I wanted them to keep this glossy style. It's just turned out absolutely stunning. Please remember, if you hit that like and subscribe button, we would appreciate that. Watch those ads and help us to bring out more of these videos. And we'll see you on the next project.